All right, here we are. We are at Module 2. It is now time to start with Module 2. You just watched that video that kind of gave you an idea of some percents, which is what we are going to be doing. We're going to be looking at fractions and decimals and percents for only 2 weeks, so you got to get it all right now. So our objective today, I can use 10 by 10 grids and bar diagrams to model percents. Our language objective, we can, or I can explain orally, that means I can talk about it, and in writing, the connection between percent and out of 100. So that's what we are going to be doing today. To get into that, let's look at a survey that you took at the beginning of the year. Actually, it wasn't everybody. Let's see how many people. 36 people responded to our math survey asking you things about yourself. That was one of the first things that we had in our class at the very first day of school. I asked a question. I said, what is the best way to get in touch with you outside of school? 55.6% of you said that email was the best way. 27.8% said that phone was best way, and 16.7% said that text was the best way. Then we had a question, do you work best when? 44.4% said working in a group. And then it was an even split between working alone and working in pairs with another student. We had this question. How often do you use technology outside of school in your life? So most people, 38.9% said every day. 30.6% said most days. And everybody else was in a couple places, and nobody said never. There was nobody who put never. So we had some other questions. Do you have a laptop, a computer laptop, iPad? And 94.4% said you did have some kind of device at that time. But here's my question for you. We've been talking about percents. We have all these numbers and percents, but what does percent mean? What does that even mean? A percent is a ratio. It's a rate, another word, ratio or rate that compares a number to 100. So percent means per 100. In Espanol, por ciento means for 100. Per 100 is represented by the symbol with a little circle, another circle, and that line. 50% means 50 per 100, and it's read as 50%. It represents that ratio, 50 to 100, or 50 to 100, or 50 over 100, the fraction 50 hundredths. A 10 by 10 grid can be used as a model for a percent because there's 100 squares. Each square, it represents 1%. So if we look at this example, so 45% means 45 per 100, or 45 to 100, or 45 hundredths, and we read it as 45%. Let's look at that on a model. So a 10 by 10 grid represents 45% because there are 45 yellow dots, or 45 yellow squares on there, and the total number of shaded squares is 45 to 100. All right, so I have a question for you. This one looks a little different. It says, what percent is represented by the 10 by 10 grid? Well, think about it for a little bit. How many total squares are on the grid? Yeah, there's 100 squares on the grid. Now, what do you notice? Yeah, you notice that half of them are shaded. So what percent is that? Yeah, 50%. Half, 50 is half of 100, so 50% of that grid is shaded. All right, we've got another question here. A credit card offers an introductory annual percentage rate, or APR, of 8%. So it says use a 10 by 10 grid to model 8%. How would I do that? Or I need to shade in 8 because there are 100 grids. 10 times 10 is 100. There are 100 squares on this grid. So all I need to do is shade in 8. Now I like to do that a little bit, make a little design. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm going to check that, and it's going to say, got it. Okay. Now we can also use bar diagrams to model percents. A bar diagram can be divided into any number of equal size sections. So to model 10% or a model of 10%, you divide the bar diagram into 10 equal sizes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines inside of our bar diagram to give us 10 different boxes inside of that bar. So if this bar diagram model percentages with 10% as in each of those boxes, then one shaded would be 10%. 4 of them shaded would be 4 out of 10, which is 40%. Or 7 out of 10 would be 70%. 9 out of 10 would be 90%. To model 5% or multiples of 5%, you can divide the bar into 20 equal sections. So instead of 10 equal sections, go into 20. So we've got 19 lines inside this bar. So we have 5% right here. If we shade in 3 of them, we get 15% because 5 times 3 is 15. If we shade in, 10, so 11 of them, then we get 55%. And if we shade in, what would this be? This would be 17 shaded bars. We are going to get 85%. All right, so this one's going to ask us to do something. It's going to shade the bar diagram to model 45%. All right, what is the value of each of these rectangles inside of the bar? Well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that goes halfway up. So I know there's 20 in total. So there are 20 bars or 20 rectangles here. So each of these is worth what percent? 5%. So I'm going to shade in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and 45. 45%, which is how many bars? 9 bars. That's right, 9 times 5 is 45%. All right, so think about this. Can you use a 10 by 10 grid to model percents? Can you use a bar diagram to model percents? Could you write the connection between percent and out of 100? That's going to be your exit ticket today. On the exit ticket, you're going to write the connection between percent and out of 100. Have a great day. I'll see you in class.